Well, you know what this is? It's the weekend. And when the weekend's on its way, just like Santa, you've got Michael Snyder. Hi, Michael.
Hey, let me pull up my sleigh here. There's not much snow in Los Angeles, but I'm making do. How you doing?
Oh, doing, getting by, getting by.
So are we all. And yeah, the holidays are upon us. It's almost Thanksgiving, and they're ratcheting up the film reviews, and they're seeking out awards nominations. And in LA, The Envelope, a weekly insert in the LA Times, talks about the Oscar predictions and such. It's a frenzy. It's a buzz.
What's the big Oscar prediction so far?
I don't know. I'll tell you what. A lot of what I thought regarding the performances of various actors like Brie Larson in Room and Saoirse Ronan in Brooklyn, those are reaping a lot of attention. Those performances, and people are kind of, there's all this revisionist stuff going on. Oh, Michael Fassbender and Steve Jobs is now being pushed to one side because of the fact that the movie was a bomb, and the various strains. It's like being buffeted by winds coming from a bunch of different directions in terms of what people really think is going to play out.
Mm-hmm.
But, there are some really good films coming up. I know there are. I hope they are on the way. And we have one of them.
Are there any rumors about the Star Wars movie as to whether it's any good or not?
People are anticipatory because it's going to be a box office bonanza, and that's been the main thrust of the story. I got a feeling that we're probably, I would venture to guess that in San Francisco, where, as you know, I spend part of the time, they will not allow the critics to bring a guest because the demand is so great. There have been actual rumors suggesting, they're not even going to have a press screening because, hey, this is the 2-ton gorilla. It's going to succeed one way or the other, so why bother dealing with the press? But I think that's specious, and I do believe there will be an opportunity to see it. And
it is either going to be really good or really bad, and in the hands of J.J. Abrams, chances are it's going to be really bad.
You may be right. I'm rolling my eyes at some of the casting decisions, but it'll be interesting to see a geriatric Han Solo saddle up for another ride on the Millennium Falcon. I think.
You think?
I hope. It'd be a real inspiration to all of us aging heroes. Right. I would think. Come on, man! You want to get into the driver's seat on a spaceship and save the universe. Who doesn't?
Yeah. Well, anyway.
Yeah, let's keep it on a sci-fi tip. The Hunger Games: Mockingjay Part 2 comes out this week and is already out in some markets. It's absolutely out across the board. It's Friday where we are right now, even if it's not where you're listening. But it is the end, thank goodness, of the Hunger Games franchise movies, except who knows what they're going to kind of boil up, because Lionsgate has made a bundle on these films. And it is the final book in, I believe, a trilogy that was broken into two pieces, much in the same manner that the last book in the Harry Potter movie series, was broken into two films, probably to make more money. But boy, they padded this son of a gun out. J. Law, Jennifer Lawrence, and the usual suspects are back to wrap this baby up. And it is about a dystopian future where young people are sent from various districts to perform in a bread and circuses way in an arena where only one will survive, so they have to kill all their peers and what have you. And of course, things have changed now in this dystopian future because of the bravery of Jennifer Lawrence's character, the archer and resistance icon, and Hunger Games winner Katniss Everdeen, who has inspired the rabble to fight against the oppressive, wealthy, I guess they're the 1% who live in the big city and run Pan Am, which is, I guess, North America in the far future. As far as the usual suspects, Josh Hutcherson, Liam Hemsworth, Natalie Dormer, and actually from Daredevil, the guy who plays Foggy, Eldon Henson, are among the young freedom fighters. Julianne Moore, Woody Harrelson, Elizabeth Banks, and a sometimes computer-generated Philip Seymour Hoffman are back as their leaders, and Donald Sutherland is the big bad, the villainous President Snow. And this is the climax, and it's kind of a soap opera, and there is action and a few interesting action set pieces. But based on a young adult book series, it also has to have some ridiculous love triangle. And so we have Lawrence as the center of it, or one corner of it, and Hemsworth as Peter, and no, he's Gael. I don't know. The Hemsworth and Hutcherson are the two parts of the love triangle, and I don't give a rat's ass about these guys. And it's so funny that Lawrence is so much better of an actor, and these two guys she's purportedly in love with can't reach her level of acting skill. So you're rolling your eyes and dealing with all that. I was bored for part of it. It got kind of more exciting at the end, but it could have been one movie. With the other one, and ultimately I didn't really like much of these films but the second one, so I give the kind of wavy meh hand to the Hunger Games finale. I'm very, very upset, by the way, that they screened it against Legend.
I disagree, though.
Okay, go ahead, tell me.
I know I like the first one. The second one, third one, I didn't even watch.
Oh, it's tedious, and this one is better than the third. I will say, I didn't like the first one for some reason. I just thought we've been here before, or we're going to be here soon. The dystopian future. But the second one, for some reason, I was caught up in. Ultimately, though, I think it's kind of mediocre. Yet it makes the Divergent movies seem like real crap. So whatever. Anyway, I wanted to say that they screened it against Legend, which is featuring Tom Hardy in a dual role as the twin gangsters Reggie and Ron Cray in London in the 60s. And I'm dying to see this thing because I do love all the stuff about the Cray brothers. Didn't get a chance to see it, can't weigh in on it, but Legend is opening today as well. Moving along, The Night Before is a holiday comedy. It had a lot of potential. Three friends, one of whom is blatantly Jewish, spent Christmas Eve in New York City looking for what has been referred to as the holy grail of Christmas parties, the Nutcracker Ball. And this stars Joseph Gordon-Levitt as an orphaned, struggling singer-songwriter, and as his best friends for years and years, Seth Rogen, who is married in this and expecting a child, and a Jewish lawyer, and Anthony Mackie, who is an arrogant and successful pro football player. Lizzie Kaplan plays JGL's estranged love interest, and Tracy Morgan narrates the thing as sort of a black Santa Claus figure. So imagine After Hours crossed with Miracle on Wonderful Life Street with an ounce of Pineapple Express. I mean, there's a lot of stoner humor. This has its moments, but there's so much of the gratuitous stoner douche comedy that we've come to expect from Rogen in particular that it kind of gets a little wearisome. And these three guys have been devoted to one another since the Gordon-Levitt character lost his parents, and we understand what's going on. They're growing up. It's kind of an eventual coming of age for three man children. It gets sloppy and relentless and a little too contrived after a while, and has a couple of gratuitous star cameos that seem totally shoehorned in. I don't want to reveal who they are because, it's such a surprise. Anyway, I have to say...
His best performance of the year was on last week's John Oliver show with Catherine Hahn.
Whose?
Huh?
I didn't catch that. Who was it?
John Oliver's show.
No, but who was the performer?
Catherine Hahn.
But who was she playing opposite?
She was playing opposite Seth Rogen.
Oh, Rogen.
Yeah.
Rogen was on that.
Yeah.
He's not untalented. He just, I don't know. What did he do on John Oliver? I didn't catch it.
It was just a whole bit about fantasy baseball, fantasy sports, and the wife and the husband. And she was magnificent in it, but he was good.
Well, if he's given good material, the thing is, some of the laughs here are absolute. There's some great and funny moments in this, but there's just a lot of filler here too. Mm-hmm. Look, it earns points for having Michael Shannon. That's right. Zod and the weird detective from Boardwalk Empire on board as a pretty hilarious and omniscient dope dealer. This is not terrible, but I'd like to see a great film. Come on, give me a great film. Maybe it'll be the remake, The Secret in Their Eyes. This is a flashback-driven... No, by the way, no luck. This flashback-driven combination of mystery and thriller concerns a team of investigators and their supervisor who are kind of rent asunder when they discover that one of their own teenage daughters has been brutally murdered. It stars Chiwetel Ejiofor, Nicole Kidman, Alfred Molina, and in a dramatic role that's meant to get attention, Julia Roberts. Okay, so what's the problem? This was based on the 2009 Argentine crime thriller film of the same name in English that won the Oscar that year for Best Foreign Language Film. It was directed, produced, and edited by the same guy, Juan Jose Campanella, and co-written by him, and based on a novel that's apparently pretty great, but in Portuguese or Spanish or something. Anyway, it's clumsily Americanized, using the post-9/11 anti-terror frenzy as its backdrop. And this is a pretty grave disappointment considering the source material and the star power of the actors, who mostly play cops, prosecutors, and FBI agents recruited for this LA anti-terrorism squad. I mean, it's always refreshing to see Julia Roberts act her age and look haggard. Yeah, let's hear it for haggard. But of course, Kidman seems frozen in time, no matter what era this flashback movie is set in. And, you know, thank you, Botox. Chewie and Molina, who are the two Brits in the cast, are script proof. I mean, they're just always good. But the crime and the aftermath are played against the way the havoc and tragedy of the unsolved case destroys one of the members of the squad, as well as there's an under-the-radar romance between two of the newcomers to the unit. And then years later, Ejiofor's character returns to town and tries to reopen the case, and all hell breaks loose. And this is what writer-director Billy Ray wants you to believe, but the situation feels forced, and the dialogue is occasionally more like something out of One Life to Live. Ultimately, a big disappointment. I shouldn't have had my hopes up. On the other hand, Carol was one of the best films I've seen in a while. Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, and Sarah Paulson star in this period drama about two very, very different women, a kind of a wealthy lady who's kind of closed off from the world, and a young shop girl who find themselves in an unexpected love affair in the 1950s in New York. It's directed by Todd Haynes, who, you know, probably took to this like catnip, catnip. And it comes from a Patricia Highsmith novel. She's the novelist who wrote the fantastic Ripley novels, including The Talented Mr. Ripley. And oddly enough, Cate Blanchett was in a film version of that movie. And now she's the star of this one, which the novel is actually called The Price of Salt. But she plays Carol. And she is the grande dame trying to live a secret life in repressive times. And right around the holidays, she's at a department store in Manhattan, and she notices this young shop girl played by Rooney Mara, and magic happens. And then they have to kind of navigate all the pitfalls that are going to face a lesbian relationship in that time. And Mara, she's the novice looking for any kind of love in her life. But she looks like the spitting image of Audrey Hepburn in this film. Audrey Hepburn circa Roman Holiday. So beautiful. I mean, the art direction in this thing is over the top great, by the way. And all the supporting players are pretty wonderful. I thought this was a fine film. Sarah Paulson plays the Carol character's age-appropriate girlfriend. And, of course, she does that with a great deal of ease. And there's supporting work from the likes of Jake Lacey, and Carrie Brownstein. But ultimately, this movie is all about Blanchett and Mara and their relationship in this thing. And they are just perfect in it. All right, let's wrap up with a couple of movies about war, two kinds of war. In one case, the U.S.-Mexico drug war. Kingdom of Shadows is a pretty fantastic and important film. And I know the topic has been the subject of a few other film and TV projects, which I liked a little better, but I found this worth my time. It looks at the U.S.-Mexico drug war and the cost of it through three different people, including a nun who is in Monterey and trying to get the government to fight the cartels because all these people are losing loved ones. A rancher in Texas named Don Henry Ford Jr., who explains the circumstance because he was a smuggler himself during the 80s. And finally, an undercover agent who is now working for Homeland Security, who has another view of the role that the U.S. is playing. And he was like, this guy is a former, he was the son of undocumented immigrants. And so he kind of sees a lot of this in very, very broad terms, and also has had the experience of being on both sides of the fence, essentially. Kingdom of Shadows, pretty good stuff. Now, let's wrap up with a revival that's now making it to some repertory theaters, and I guess will soon be available on video. It's 1969's fantastic and wonderful war drama, Army of Shadows. And it's the work of Jean-Pierre Melville, who was a French director who was pivotal in making the new wave. Actually, he was the bridge between American film noir and the new wave. This is the guy who made Bob Le Flambeur, The Samurai, and The Red Circle, all films that I love. And this is largely about the darkness, misery, and fear implicit with being in the resistance in France during World War II. These guys go about their thankless tasks of undermining the Nazis in an occupied country. It's like dark, intense, and not your conventional wartime action thriller. Still, it is moody and really gripping stuff about the lengths and extremes that people will go to thwart evil, and of course the strength of character it takes to do so. Lives are ruined, people fight back. I think it's a great film, and Jean-Pierre Melville is one of my favorite directors. Again, this is from 1969. Army of Shadows, or Army in the Shadows, call it what you will. It is an amazing and worthwhile film. And that's about it in terms of stuff I've been able to see and review. What do you got going on, buddy?
Nothing much. I mean, what I'm doing is I'm canceling television shows, you know.
What are you deleting?
Let's see. I think I'm deleting the Marvel show. What is it?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's just going nowhere. Just going nowhere. So I'm canceling that one.
Oh, well, yeah, I hear that the current episode, which I've yet to see, is actually good, but okay. What about Jessica Jones, the Marvel thing that's coming out this weekend in binge size via Netflix?
I have it ready to go. I just haven't watched it yet.
I hear good things.
Yeah.
Kristen Ritter is the Marvel private detective with superpowers who's been abused by a guy who's sort of a mutant, played by David Tennant. And she's trying to put her life together, and he's still lurking in the shadows. That's what I know about the show.
Okay, well, we'll have to see what it is, and if it's good, we'll binge watch it. Girlfriend said she'd watch one, and if she liked it, she'd watch more.
Oh, good.
But,
that's very
I
egalitarian.
didn't tell her that David Tennant is in it. So
that sweetens the pot a little bit. One more thing.
But the only thing that would make her watch the whole thing would be Idris Elba. Definitely. Yeah.
I hear he shows up halfway through. No, maybe not.
Yeah.
The Man in the High Castle, the adaptation of Philip K. Dick's
Terrible.
You didn't like it?
Girlfriend watched it. She got through an episode and a half and couldn't take it anymore.
Well, there you go. The rest of it's coming from, I believe, Amazon this weekend. So that's just it. That's what I know about new TV.
I thought it was crappy that they were advertising, the whole season and whatever in the ads, and yet when you went there were only 2 episodes.
Well, they're coming after you. They want to hook you, and they didn't in this case, did they? Anyway, there you go.
Yeah. So anyway, that's I guess that's it. That wraps it up for tonight or today. Yeah. I say tonight because I'm used to that. But we'll check on you again next week, and thank you for your participation this week.
Thanks. Do I get a parting gift
quickly,
of any sort?
Tell them where they can find you.
I'm on Twitter at Culture Blaster, and you can catch me and Alex and this segment and others on Facebook at the Michael Snyder's Culture Blast page.
Thank you, Michael. See you next week. And there's more GABNet coming right up.